It's great to see you. Oh, this I just tossed in. I actually wasn't planning on including this in part of my deal, but this piece of felt is a drill that I have some of my new sewists do when I bring them on board and we teach them bustles. So we just have them make practice bustle hook and loop sets, and we kind of like let them get their quality up. I just happened to have that in my hand and I tossed it down when I came on live. So today we are taking this zipper and we're going to put the loops in. So Monday, we made the loops on the vertical live stream. So today we are going to be converting this. Everyone drop a wave emoji in the chat. It's so great to have you. I hope this time worked out to be super convenient for you guys. If not, and you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments if you're watching it on the replay. I'd love to know that. Now I'm gonna get you just a little bit closer here so you can see everything. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with ye old trusty razor. See here, a fresh one. It makes all the difference, guys, all the difference. And I can already tell now I'm gonna have to change my thread color. My daughter was in here working on a different project yesterday. So we're gonna take this hook and loop off, never to be needed again. I often don't trust the hooks and loops that come from manufacturers anyways. In my experience, they tend to be pretty weak and cheap. They definitely cut corners on the quality of that. Almost every dress I have to replace the hook and loop. But this is going to be a corset, so we don't need the hook and loop. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this open like this. And I'm not going to go all the way down because she's going to kind of keep some of the zipper. It's just going to be a corset for the top half. So we're gonna do like zipper, hook and loop, corset. Tell me in the comments, where are you showing up from? Just in general, nothing detailed, nothing crazy. And then also let me know what you're working on today. Are you having a day off and you're just sewing vicariously through me? Or are you actually doing a legit sew with me today and you are sewing with me? Let me know what that project is. I'd love to hear it. Oh, this little bit is being stubborn, isn't it? And this is a sharp razor. There's just kind of a little bit of a rat's nest going on right here. See if I can come in at it this way. They've sewed over this a few times. Not sure why. Seems a little extra. There we go. Now we're free. All right, so got that. Gracious bee. They sewed this twice. That was nice of them though. I mean, that's good to make it reliable like that. But yeah, that zipper is definitely sewn in a couple of times. Look at all those threads. So here is the actual waist of the dress. It's kind of a low back dress. So we only need to go a little ways down to get this to fit well. Those of you who are in my fitting room finesse boot camp, this dress is, let's see, the second bride featured when I show the live fitting discussion about what we're going to do. I hope to upload those today. We'll see. But you'll actually be able to see me talk to this bride, those that are in that boot camp. If you missed the boot camp, I'm going to have a course version as soon as I can get that produced and up. So you didn't miss out forever. All right, I'm going to peek at those comments in just a minute. So drop in and tell me where you're at and what you're doing. Are you doing client work today? Are you doing your own sewing project? That would be wonderful, huh? We don't get to do that much. So with this, I am taking this label out just because it has the black and I'm afraid it may kind of shine through. I'm gonna put this in her bag. I don't believe in like taking labels out and throwing them away, but if it's a bridal dress and the label has black, it's coming out. It shines through and it doesn't look good. So it's coming out. And if the bride wants it sewn back in later, like after she gets married and we do the box preservation and she wants it sewn back in, happy to oblige. It's those kind of details that can really elevate your work for brides. Also, like if it was a semi-sheer bodice and she had hang loops like this, or hanger loops that have black print branding on it, which we see all the time, okay? I'm looking at you, brand name that the first word starts with an M and the second one starts with an S. Come on, get with it. Their branding is with black letters. And then you put that with a semi-sheer bodice and it accidentally shows back here. And in all of her pictures, she's either got a bright white hang loop or she's got letters showing through her dress. Looks awful. So I do swap to a little bit more of a neutral skin tone match hanger loop just for that reason. Little details like that go a long way. And you know, it's one of those things, are they even going to notice that I did it? No. But would they notice if I didn't do it? Yes, because their pictures would be kind of ruined. So it's just, you know, being thoughtful and whatever. I have heard people say that when you do things like that, that wouldn't be noticed, but should be appreciated. Just branding wise, just so they have more confidence in you. Like, wow, this person really cares. That you should just go ahead and mention it. You can just casually say, you know, it's not a big deal. Just say, oh, and by the way, I swapped out your hang loops. It had like black letters all over it. So swapped it out to something a little more neutral. And brides love that kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to change out my bobbin here. And then we're gonna look at this top thread as well. You guys would love that, wouldn't you? If I would sew this with navy thread. You know, there is some merit to sewing on dresses that aren't actual real client dresses, because you can do things like that, right? You can use contrasting thread. I do like to do that in some of my tutorials. All right, so let's change this out. Her dress is pretty much white, which we don't see a lot of. And I want to talk about white. This is bouncing a little bit of yellow. You see it? There's a little bit of yellow. It's kind of what we would call a soft white or a diamond white. If you were to hold a sheet of paper up to it, the dress is a little bit darker than that, primarily because it bounces yellow. If you order a dress that is white, this is what I tell my brides when they're ordering a veil or a dress. If they order a dress that is white, a lot of times in the bridal industry, that's what we call an optic white. And it's almost blue. It bounces a lot of blue, and you cannot mix those whites. I'm gonna go get this ribbon here. You can't mix your whites. So you can't have a soft white dress like this. This is not ivory. It's much lighter than ivory. You can't have a soft white dress and then get a white veil, because veils are particularly sensitive to it, or tulle. It's just tulle down here. If you have a white veil with this color dress, when the light goes through it, the veil's going to turn a purpley blue in all the pictures, and the dress won't. So you want to daylight test that. That's some very important color theory to understand, specific to this industry. All right, so what we're gonna do is we gotta get these evenly spaced, right? I'm going to grab my heat erasable pen. And I was talking about this the other day on my membership call. I was saying these pens, they actually come with a pen that you can load them in, but I don't like to use that. Like, I prefer using the refills because they look so different. I would hate to accidentally grab a real ink pen. So I'm going to mark my spacing that I want inside of these on both sides, make sure they match up, and then that's going to be our guide for sewing in these loops. All right, and we need to turn this inside out. I am going to pull up your chat, guys. Let's see. Where am I at? Where am I at? Oh, gosh. Okay, so the YouTube app is incredibly difficult to use when they know you're already on it. I almost have to log out of it on my other phone before the live starts in order to use it, because it won't even show me my account right now. All right, so I've tunneled up through the layers, and here we are. I'm gonna turn her like this. Okay, and this is what I was talking about last week when I said I'm just gonna kind of veer off here, all right? So let's measure where this is gonna veer off. Let's say we wanna come down here. I'm just estimating here. I was picturing like maybe 4 loops. Okay, so let's say, we want the zipper, because this has to be the same on both sides, guys. You gotta plan this. It's a little messy spot right there. Okay. Here come the sirens. Okay, let's say we want 4.5 inches of zipper. Okay, that would be right here. I'm gonna put a Z so I know what I'm talking about. That's my 4.5 inch mark. And instead of measuring again, because these may be offset a little bit, I'm gonna measure the shell layer and then I'm gonna mark the lining just by squeezing them together. All right, that's our zipper. So we're gonna need to sew that back in when we're done to get us to that point. All right, and shoot, when they applique the lace down, who machine appliques the lace after they put in the zipper? That was weird. All right, we gotta have this accessible to us. Come on, people, get it together. All right. This is not like a designer label high quality dress at all. I don't know if you can tell with the camera quality or not that this is not super great fabric, but it's not. I mean, it's not terrible. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. Okay, so the easiest time to sew this down is going to be now. We're just going to bite the bullet and we're going to sew it down. Okay, so I'm going to start right here because I get access to the back right now. And I'm just going to take a few little stitches here. Okay. Run it through like that. Get that knot out of there. Perfect. And I'm just going to leave that tail in there. Hopefully it'll get sewn over so it's kind of reinforced. Yeah, that'll be fine. All right, so let's mark this. This top corner is gonna kind of be our starting point. You can also, if you ever need to do something that's not like an inch, I kind of want to do an inch because, at least an inch, because these are thicker. I don't want them super tight together. That'll look a little weird. But if ever it needs to be, like, let's say you want to do 1.25 inches, I like to take a piece of cardstock and mark off 1.25 inches and make that my gauge instead of using this, because then you get into math real quick. You're like 1.25 inches, 2.5, okay, 3 3/4. Like the numbers move, which is fine, but you're more prone to make an error. You just are, no matter how good you think you are at math. And then also, so you're going to want to go by the gauge, but then you also, when you're done, this was a math concept too, right? You want to eyeball it and say, did that look kind of even? Sometimes you won't catch yourself with the gauge. You won't catch a mismeasurement, but you'll catch it with your eye afterward. So that's a great little thing to be cognizant of. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here. All right, and we're gonna go, oh, you usually end up having your seam on one side or the other of the spaghetti. It's not usually on the very edge. So I just have it where when you're looking at the dress, the seam isn't showing on the outside, but it's not a huge deal if it does. Designers do that all the time. All right, so you're gonna go like this. You wanna go to the left of your future seam, right? And you're gonna do a quick little flip. This is so important. If you don't do this little flip that doubles back, you're gonna end up with a big gap. It's gonna be like this, and then you're gonna go this way. And then when you sew it, it's gonna end up being a big gap. Just trust me on that. All right, so let's do our little flip here. That's a nice, neat one, huh? And pin it through. Do our little flip. And make sure your pin is going right through that line you drew. And we grabbed 1, 2, 3, okay? And make sure this is facing up or down, whatever it's supposed to be doing. Oh, look. Oh, look. They have it going up and then they flipped it down when they did the zipper. That's kind of sloppy. It happened with the applique. People, who ever heard of such a thing? This is what we're talking about when seamstresses say, like, when you work on a dress, you can tell the quality. You can tell the sewing quality. And fun fact, it really doesn't have a lot to do with how much the dress cost. It just has to do with which sewing factory they used. Sadly enough. All right. And we want to make sure the fullness is the same. See how much bigger coming out this is than these two? So that's not good. Tighten that up. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. We're at the end and we don't have to loop. This time we just get to kind of like veer off, just like the zipper is going to veer off. You still got to make sure it's the same distance and the same fullness in that loop though. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this down kind of like to baste it in a way. Cut that light off. I know that light seems to help, but sometimes it makes like these stripy bars go through the video, which is so annoying. So I'm trying to do daylight or video light. So, all right, here we go. I'm gonna sew. I'm sewing, I don't know if you can tell, ever so slightly to the right of my final seam. So my final seam is gonna be here and I'm sewing here, okay? I'm gonna pull these pins out as I go. Not for any particular reason, actually. It's literally just so I'm less likely to stab myself. You can leave them in there is what I'm saying. It's fine. All right, there's that. And we're gonna keep on going. All the way to the end. All right, so this is basted. It's okay, it's not truly basted because it's not like I used a long basting stitch. It's gonna come out real easy. I'm kind of fast and loose with the way I use basted, and let me know if you're the same way. I mean, and this stitch is kind of like a stay stitch or what, it's kind of holding it in place while I work. Okay, that's what I mean by that. All right, so we've got that, and let's just go ahead and put this zipper back in. We do need to release the lining further down than we do the shell layer. The lining gets sewn in afterward. Real easy way. Let's see. This is what's gonna get us closest to the side there. Swap these out. Out, out, out. Okay. So I'm going to put this to where that line is with the Z. That's going to be my top of the zipper. All right. Really lock that on. Come on down nice and close. All right. Trim it up. Okay, and just so we don't have to fight later, I'm gonna go ahead and sew this off to the side. I'm not trimming it yet. Nope, no siree. I will trim this after we have a fitting. If it's visible in there, then we will trim it. I'm not trimming it yet. All right, that way it's got to veer off to the side. It'll be less likely to be all up in our business while we're sewing this other stuff. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to put in, no, guys, my open box of Ridgeline, where is it? I don't see it. I don't want 2 open boxes of Ridgeline. Talk about chaos in the sewing room. Well, and this is 1/4 inch anyways. Guys, this is what happens when you work with other seamstresses. It's such a blessing to have extra help. Don't get me wrong. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't do it without it. I just wouldn't. But stuff gets moved. Tell me in the comments where you think it is. Let's see if you can guess correctly where we end up finding it. I don't know. This is crazy. All right, so I've got a couple of used pieces in here that were still good. So I'm gonna use those. And then that way too, it's not the transparent kind. Well, this one wasn't used. Let's see. Let's cut these. There we go. I do recycle the bones if they're fresh and they've never been put under stress. Absolutely do I recycle them. If they've been put under stress and they're misshapen at all, nope, I don't reuse those. All right, let's do the caps. And I'm getting ready to get to a stopping point where I'll read the comments. I tried to do that earlier and then it didn't work, so. People feel different ways about the comments. Some people are like very patient when you're reading comments because they're interested to see what other people said. And it's kind of important for the replays if they don't have it where they can see the comments, right? There's that. And then other people are, if they're just here to see me sew, then they're like, I'm not going to stick around while you read comments. Everybody has such a strong opinion, don't they? Oh. I do love to use my synthetic fabrics for caps because it allows it to melt a little bit. I do. Here we go. Almost done. That one got a little bit charred. I'll put that down in the skirt area. It won't really show. Main thing is that it doesn't fray. Okay. Now, I'm going to sew this. I'm going to bump it down just a little bit from the top, and I'm going to sew it to the seam allowance, giving it just a little bit of space for the folds, okay? If you don't give it space here or here, everything's going to look a little bit wedged up. It's not a good look. All right, so we're going to really get this on here, and I want to sew down to where it's feeding a little bit into the top of the zipper. That way you don't get kind of this buckly, bendy little break right before you get to the zipper. That's not a good look. All right, so we're gonna come down here, really reverse it off there to lock it in, and then we're gonna do it again right beside it because we don't want this to be flippy, okay? Make sure I don't catch anything. Nothing flipping around. I know you can't see. I'll move it in just a second. Sometimes I just have to position it in a way that you can't see. Very, very sorry. All right, that is down and secure. All right, so look, I went through the tail. How lovely. I don't think this is going to be a problem. I'll know if the thickness of this is going to be a problem when I go to put in the zipper. I don't think it is because I think it's going to be down in the full part of the tool. All right, so I'm going to match up my corners. Start up here. This is along the top of the center back of the dress. Go a little further than I need to. Sink my needle and let's do this. I'm gonna do my corner here. And then now I can't see. I know we don't like to sew with everything on the right side of the machine, but I need to be able to see this stitch line as I sew this. So here we go. I'm gonna do it this way. And sometimes this takes a couple passes, and that's just fine. For stability, I might sew them together a little bit on the left, a little bit too. Right, so I'm stacking them the way they need to be. Then I'm sewing ever so slightly to the right of that stitch that I did when I sewed the loops on. Remember, I said I was going just a shade away from where it needs to be, because now it's my little landmark to go by. Now we've got our zipper. We want to make sure that we're aligned, and the lining always needs to be a little offset from the zipper, okay? So here we go. I'm going to sew right over those coils. That's what I did. And we're going to be a little more to the left than what we just were. This is the perfect, this foot is the perfect gap between the coil and the edge of the lining. See where it's going to end up? There we be. All right, so let's just go back through. For security's sake, we're going to start right at where the final loop is, and we're going to sew everything together. So this is the looping, the boning, the lining, the shell layer. All of this is getting really reinforced. That way, if you have an over-eager bridesmaid, mother of the bride, whoever, and they're lacing her up and they pop the threads, she's got like 3 rows of threads she's got to rip through before it rips. All right, let's see the result here and then read comments for a second. Drop any questions you have in the comments, please, so I can answer them in the video. If you're watching the replay, you can still drop comments. It's just really helpful if I get the question when it's live, so I can kind of answer it for everybody in real time and show you. All right, so here's our 4 loops. All right, the top of zipper, and we're gonna have a nice stout hook and loop right here, okay? And then on the next call, I think we're gonna do the modesty panel. Somebody had a modesty panel question for me, and at first I was kind of like, really? A modesty panel? Like, I didn't know that I would really have to teach that. Like, it seems fairly straightforward. And then I thought about it. Like, I'm coming from the experience of like the Maggie Sotero corset back heyday that we had like 10 or 15 years ago, right? We saw modesty panels all day long. Some of you may have never even seen a mass manufactured dress with a modesty panel. So I wanted to show you that. Here's that last little bit of lace that I had to unpick to get in here. How annoying. If you are loving these vertical live streams, please drop a heart emoji for me so I see it when I come up to look at your questions. I would love to see it. Drop a heart emoji. I'm loving them because I'm just getting so much more content out there for you guys. And it's very specialized content, right? All right, there we have it. There we have it. All right, so the one side is done. Obviously, we got to do all the same stuff to the other side. Let me read your questions real quick. I'm gonna set this under here just to hold the dress in place for anybody who comes along. They can kind of see. Oh, Mystical, thank you, honey. Oh my goodness. You are so kind to me. Amy, hello. I'm going back through the comments. Amy Boger, we go way back, don't we, girl? She did an in-person retreat with me years ago at a prior location. Do you remember what year it was, Amy? It has been a while. It's been a minute, but we go way back. How fun. Okay, Lori, you made it. Hello. So darned fun. Made it. Lori's in Michigan, and she's working. She's taking in the shoulders and mesh on a bridal gown. Vanessa's having lunch with us today. Oh, Amy is in Southern Indiana. She's in a sewing frenzy with late summer and fall weddings. Aren't we all, girl? We are buried. Um, Vanessa says, so behind on Bryce, sewing like a Mad Hatter. That's such a good explanation for that. That's hilarious. Okay, Laura just came in from a bit of gardening, hand sewing, and lace repair. Let's see. So darn fun. LOL. Working on a dress today with the same brand. Are you serious? Where did it come from? I've never even seen this before. Have you guys seen this? La Divine by Cinderella Divine. Oh, that's neat. It's Cinderella. La Divine makes La Divine. That's smart. Okay. I love good branding. You're right about those hang loops. Watching from sunny Washington State. Oh, Mom Bombful. I'm in Utah and installing a corset. Look at us. Vanessa's Middle Georgia. Laura Burtis, you're right. It's 50 Shades of White. Isn't that the truth? Jessica's asking what kind of pen are you using? Okay, so I think the brand name is called Friction or something like that, but this might be off-brand. But it's heat erasable, so you run the iron over it and the ink goes away. And like I said, I just like to order the refills. That way I don't get them mixed up with real ink pens. Let's see. Yes, thank you so much, Mystical. She's from Illinois, and she's saying, please be sure to like that live stream and subscribe. It helps the bridal sewing channel. It really does. And guys, if you could only know, picture what you're doing in the summer. You're either out with your family, like vacation, babysitting the grandkids, whatever. You're either doing that or you're sewing like crazy for fall brides. My views go way down in July and August every year. The channel gets a little rough. So seriously, every like, subscribe, comment, every interaction, every share, it means the world to me. And it's only just because my audience is not really on their phones a lot this time of year. So I just try to blitz you guys with lots of content. So that way this fall, when I'm doing fittings with my brides and I'm busy like that, you have a nice library to return to. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mystical. I really appreciate that. She said, thank you for showing all your tricks of the trade. Yes. Let's see. Some are for both. You can get a second camera for the comments to stream in front of your face. It's so true. I have that, but like what I was saying is if I don't, it's tricky. If I don't log out and, switch account to a different YouTube account of mine on that other phone before I start this live stream, it won't let me see it. I don't know why. I feel like it's still a little buggy. Let's see. Mystical says, the loops, I'm in all of what you do. Do you make custom dresses? Yes and no. And I feel like a lot of the seamstresses here are going to relate to this. I can make custom dresses, and I would for the right customer and the right price. But really, it's so cost prohibitive that I very rarely do it. I mostly do alterations. Lori, drop in those channel membership emojis. Thank you, Lori. Guys, I hand drew those emojis. That's why they look like little drawings, because they are. That's one of the fun things I think about the perk for being a channel member is you get to drop those fun little hand draw emojis. Laura's wondering, how much do you charge for this kind of alteration? This is usually about $250 to do the swap. Let's see. Oh, yes, right. You're right, Mystical. There's a special training on Monday for multiple camera. I'm so excited about that. Jane, we missed you too. You were with your daughter. That's what I was just talking about, how summer is so difficult for sewing channels because our audience typically is very family oriented. And so we're busy with family and vacations and our own projects. So yeah, it's hard to grab you guys during the summer, but yeah. Mystical, I think it's a good price too. If you're talking about like a high value gown in terms of sentimental and the importance of the event, I feel like that's a good price. So Jane, you're in the UK, so it's really late for you, huh? It's almost bedtime. Well, here's what we did today. What I would do, guys, is I would kind of like arrange the flippiness of them to match, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? The flippiness of them? Yeah, I would just do like this. And then I would press them so that they're all trained to kind of lay the same way and just work on them. Like this guy wants to kink up a little bit. I would just finesse that a little bit. And then we're gonna add the hook and loop. And then it's going to be like this, where, make sure I don't spring the zipper. She's gonna zip it like halfway, have her hook and loop, and then she's gonna have her corset. And the waist of the dress is right here. So all of this is already blooming out. So really the first 3 loops is gonna have the brunt of the responsibility. This one's just gonna give you a little bit of continuity. The hook and loop is just gonna keep your zipper from sliding down, and this is gonna give you your closure and modesty within the skirt. So Friday, when I do my next live stream, okay, 1 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is my vertical live stream. So Friday, we're gonna be making the modesty panel and sewing it in, and you'll also be able to see the other half of this, and we'll have it all laced up. You'll be able to see the finished product. That's my goal for Friday, okay? Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already hit the like. Do that, or give me a heart emoji if you're gonna join me on Friday, or if you wish you could join me on Friday to see the end of this, pop a little heart in there for me. I would love to see that. And we have 60 concurrent viewers right now. That is a great little record for us today. I really appreciate that. Yes, you're right. Mystical Custom Gowns would expect 30K plus, depending on what you wanted, plus materials. That's right. So as far as the 1 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have one little caveat. This coming Monday, it's different. It's going to be noon, but I schedule ahead of time. You guys are going to get that notification. If you mark it in your calendar, this Monday is at noon, because I have my final boot camp day that starts at 1 for the fitting room finesse boot camp. So yes, hit that like, hit that heart, hit that subscribe. Mystical, you're coming in clutch. Thank you so much. Vanessa Martin, to get the emojis, you would sign up to become a channel member. So it's not the Sparkle membership, it's a channel membership, and they're very affordable. It's through YouTube, and you get all the custom emojis, and you also get a custom, what is it? Okay, if you look at Lori's comment, see how her name is in green and it says bestie and it's got the sewing machine? You know how I call you guys my BST besties, bridal sewing technique besties? You get that little icon beside your name, and your name is in green. So that's how that works. Yep, like Mystical saying, go to the channel page, or sometimes I think under some of the videos it says you can join the membership. It's very easy. It's an auto recurring charge, very cheap. I've got 3 different tiers. The highest tier, by the way, if you guys want to join it, it includes a monthly call with me, one-on-one. So you could also do that. But most of the value really for the super cheap memberships is that you get the fun emojis. And it kind of makes you stand out. So if I have a lot of people asking questions or making comments, I know to pay attention to the super chats and the channel members first, because they've really kind of invested into it. And Vanessa, I know you've invested in my programs. I love working with you. You're just a rock star. Well, you guys have an awesome day. I can't thank you enough. My top commenters today, Lori, Mystical, you knocked it out of the park. I appreciate it so much. Have a beautiful day, guys. Go put your feet up.